The evolution of the position of quarterback is a fascinating thing to me because if you go way, way back, and I'm talking about, I know I'm old, but before my time, where you had, Dick Night Train Lane, and he was a fearsome tackler and also a ball hawk. It's hard to do all those things in today's NFL. And so you saw the evolution of the position from maybe where Mel Blount was in Pittsburgh to what Deion Sanders was. Deion Sanders, to me, remains the best cover corner in NFL history. But you have to define it that specific way. I know he hates that, but you have to, because the best corner in NFL history would also be a great tackler, a great run stopper. And Deion wasn't necessarily that. But the best cover corner in the NFL, yes, to the point where I'm going to tell you a Troy Aikman story to help you understand what Deion was, and then to get to what Trayvon Diggs is so far for the Dallas Cowboys. At Cowboys headquarters at the Star in Frisco, Mike Fisher, after a Cowboys Week 4 demolition of Carolina, really the close score, relatively not indicative of how dominant Dallas was, and Trayvon Diggs as dominant as any Cowboy and any player in that game, and in terms of playmaking at cornerback, as dominant as anybody has been this season in the NFL. Defensive Player of the Month in the NFC, yes. And then he goes out and does even more against Carolina with not one but two interceptions. One of them was a so-called easy interception. The other one about as athletic and physical a wrestling match, break on the ball wrestling match interception, as you'll see. That was a do-everything sort of play from Trayvon Diggs, who the Cowboys are now saying he's the best cornerback in the NFL. Dak Prescott says that, and Dak's logic really does apply here, because Dak's saying, first of all, I watch him on film. Go ahead and watch. Second of all, I go against him in practice every day, and I can tell you what he does to me. And then thirdly, look at what we ask him to do. We ask him to go travel and cover the other team's best wide receiver. And he does that and then ends up making more plays than the wide receiver does in so many cases. So comes the argument, is he the next blank? Is Trayvon Diggs the next blank? So far, by the numbers, you can make a legitimate argument that Trayvon Diggs is the next Everson Walls. That's fair. And I think Everson Walls, Cubby, friend of the show, I think he would celebrate that. First of all, I think Cubby'd like to be acknowledged again as the great player that he was. Played 14 seasons. I think he had 57 career interceptions. Of course, had 11 in the 1 year. Now, how do you get 11 interceptions in 1 year? Well, the other teams keep throwing at you. That's how. And Cubby Walls was an undrafted kid out of Grambling, unheralded in many ways. And so the other teams didn't believe the numbers, and they kept throwing at him, and then he kept making plays. Trayvon Diggs is in his second year. He is from a football family. His brother, of course, is a superstar wide receiver in the NFL, and he was a superstar defensive back, Trayvon was, at Alabama. There's no secrets here. A guy with first-round talent who comes to the Cowboys in the second round of last year's draft. Again, no secrets. So there's no Everson Walls there. In terms of going and getting the ball, he has so far been Everson Walls. What about the Deion Sanders comparison? Wow, what a compliment. And I say this with all due respect to Deion Diggs. No, not that. Not that. Not yet. And probably not ever, because of this. This was when the Cowboys were getting ready. Gosh, this is 93, maybe? The Cowboys are getting ready to play, I believe, the Steelers. It was the Steelers, whatever year that was, in the season opening game. Go look it up. I'm in the library. I guess I could have looked it up. And I'm out in the Valley Ranch parking lot with Aikman, and I got to write my newspaper preview of Cowboys versus Steelers, big game. And so I'm interviewing Aikman, and he's given me not only quotes, but as he was wont to do, and I sure appreciated it, giving me insight. And I say, tell me about Rod Woodson. Is he the best, blah, blah, blah. And he said, listen, don't write this. Don't write it in a way that sounds insulting, but we're not afraid of Rod Woodson. No, this is, he went on. He was obviously at this time going to be a Hall of Fame player. And I go, really? And he goes, yeah. we'll throw at Rod Woodson. We run our plays. We want to run a route. We got Michael Irvin, we got Alvin Harper, we got Jay Novacek, we got Kelvin Martin, whatever. We're gonna run our play. We're gonna run our route. We're not concerned with Rod Woodson. I said, so I'm writing this, and I said, don't worry, trust me, I'll be careful, which I was. He says, now Deion. I go, yeah, and he goes, no, we don't throw at Deion. Deion's big line is water covers 2/3 of the earth and he covers the rest or whatever. A fantastic line. But Aikman said, yeah, we don't throw to that third of the field. Of course, Deion had been in Atlanta, and by this time I'm sure was in San Francisco, and then eventually lands in Dallas. So whatever year this was, we will throw at Rod Woodson. We will. This is Troy Aikman now saying we do not throw at Deion. We don't bother. So if you want to take a player out of the game, if you want to take Michael Irvin out of the game, put him on that side. Now, obviously, again, I'm not saying over the course of all time they never threw that way. Obviously, that's not true. But in terms of game planning, Troy Aikman's Cowboys planned to not really bother throwing to Deion Sanders' side, but they had no problem throwing to Rod Woodson's side. That shows you the difference between those two players. Where is Trayvon Diggs in that pecking order? Well, so far, they're still throwing to Trayvon Diggs' side. And as he said after Sunday's game at AT&T Stadium, I hope they keep throwing. Keep throwing at me. And I'll continue to try to make the plays that I've made that have made Trayvon Diggs a name player in his second year, the month's defensive player of the year in the NFC. And now the next month is just getting started with the Cowboys inside the Star in Frisco. Fish out.